Hello and welcome back. Oh my gosh, we're so close to discovering what is the murder weapon. Now we've filtered out so much noise and now we are left with just 3 items, right? The hammer, the baseball bat, and the table lamp. Okay, so how then do we identify the murder weapon? So now let me introduce you to 2 justification strategies. The first is known as negative justification. You're making a case that X is not the murder weapon. The second one is known as positive justification. You're making the case that X is the murder weapon. Let's start first with negative justification. It is the act of proving why something cannot be the case, or showing that X is not the murder weapon. Negative justification is often a lot easier to carry out as compared to positive justification, because all you need is just one piece of evidence to show why it is not the case. So consider this table lamp, okay? It has blood on it and it is heavy enough to be used as a murder weapon. But there's one problem. Right now in our crime scene, the table lamp is still connected to the wall socket, okay? And if you look at the length of the cable, it's very short. The victim has to be within the range of the lamp's power cable in order to be murdered. But look at the crime scene. The lamp is over here, the body is over there. Right? It's not within the range of the power cable. Notice what I just did. I'm using other relevant data in the crime scene, things like the length of the cable or the distance of the body from the table lamp. These are additional information from the data set that I'm bringing in to make a case. Of course, when you think about it, it's not impossible to be murdered by a table lamp, okay? But is it reasonable to assume that the murderer would have unplugged the table lamp, walked over to the other side of the room, murder the victim, and then go back to plug the table lamp back? That's a bit too far-fetched, isn't it? In fact, it does not cohere with the eyewitness accounts, which is, after the scream, the suspect ran out of the room and away, right? How on earth did the suspect have enough time to go back and plug the table lamp into the wall socket? So there is something that doesn't quite fit the picture that we have so far. Let's imagine another scenario. Could it be the case that the murderer took the table lamp while it's still plugged in, killed the victim, and then dragged the victim to the other side of the room? Possible? Well, it's a bit unlikely. Again, why? It doesn't match the big picture, right? Because we know that the suspect ran out of the room, there was no time to drag the body. Furthermore, in our data set, in our crime scene, there is no evidence to suggest that the body was dragged, because if it was dragged, we would have found blood stains of the body being dragged on the floor. We don't have that in our data set, so there's lack of evidence to even consider that this is possible. So based on these 2 possible scenarios, we know that they don't fit the rest of the data and they don't fit the eyewitness accounts. So we can be very, very sure that the table lamp does not qualify as the murder weapon. Notice how we use the negative justification to rule the table lamp out. Now we can continue to employ negative justification like this. Let's examine the pattern of damage caused by the table lamp. Okay, so imagine you go to a forensics lab, you take the table lamp and you smash a dummy head. The pattern of damage on the dummy head is not the same as the pattern of damage on the victim's head. The wound looks very different. Now notice how, as I add more and more negative justification against the table lamp, you grow more confident that the table lamp is definitely not the weapon. So what's the moral of the story? The more justifications we can gather from the data that lead us to the same conclusion, the more confident we are about the conclusion. This process is known as corroborating evidence. That's a bit of a mouthful. Corroborating evidence, or the corroboration of evidence. Alright, so we have ruled out the table lamp. We're now left with the baseball bat and the hammer. We can use the same line of negative justification, the pattern of damage. The hammer would produce a wound on a very small rounded point. Again, this does not match the pattern of damage on the victim's head. Once more, this gives us sufficient evidence, just enough evidence to make us doubt that the hammer is the murder weapon. Now, what have we done so far? Right now, we know that the table lamp is out and we have reasons to doubt that the hammer was the murder weapon. This leaves us with the baseball bat. Can we conclude that the baseball bat is indeed the murder weapon? Well, not at all. Negative justification strategies only tells us what is not the murder weapon. Negative justification is just a tool that we use in the process of elimination. It can never tell you what is the cause. It can never tell you what is the murder weapon. So just because we're left with the baseball bat does not mean that the baseball bat is the murder weapon. In fact, maybe if we search hard enough, we might find evidence to tell us that the baseball bat is not the weapon. Then how? How now, brown cow? So in the next video, I'm going to show you how to carry out positive justification. See you!